This is Cooking Scenario 1, a game I made over the course of 1 week for Game Jam. There are only a few things to do so far. Let's start at the cutting board, where there are carrots that you can cut with the knife and push into the stock pot to make the soup. There's only really 2 ingredients. I tried to add water to the soup, but it kept leaking out, and then it had like this weird lumpy shape. So instead I just added a cylinder and made it broth colored. And that works for now. I do want to add splash effects, and there are various ways I could do that, but that's for a later iteration. The carrots can be cut with the knife, or rather, the field attached to the knife. So the field applies an internal strain to the geometry within it. There is a drop button that works for everything else but the knife, but I need a way to drop it, so I added the R key that just destroys the knife, and that works fine enough for now. The reason that the carrots are solid orange and not particularly carrot colored in the version I submitted is because of a skill issue. I was not able to set the interior material in any of the 6 ways that I've tried, so I just went for solid orange. And that worked on time, but I would like it to look better. And this is how I check if the carrots are actually in the pot. So I first attach particles to each of the carrot pieces somewhere else, and then I export that data to a blueprint, and then here, every tick, I receive the carrot particle data, and then for each of the carrot particles, then I go through them and check if they're in the pot. And the pot was hard to define because I tried to use this sphere right here, the red one, but it wasn't working right, so I then had to emit a single particle at the beginning and check where that lands, and then use that as the offset, and then check everything against that. And if it's in that radius, then I can increment the ingredients and check if that's above the required count. And if it is, then I can set some state and show a message to the user. Also, this animated dialogue system that I was going to try to use for storytelling ended up clashing with the starter framework that I was using and broke the on clicked and hover and on release, but at least the on begin cursor over now functions like an on click, which is weird, but it's fine. I never got to actually do anything with it, so I ended up just using chat instead. Then there's the mop. The mop is over here. It's kind of like a broom, but also like a mop, because there's a dustpan. And it, when clicked on, attaches to the mouse, the cursor, at the location on the camera channel. Using that, you can clean up all the bits of carrots that you may have dropped. This uses the same tracking system as the knife and stove knob, because that's what I learned how to do. Next is the stove knob. I just sliced this geometry off of the stove that I got, and then I attached it to the cursor and turn on the fire and the steam. Then, when you go to drop the stove knob and exit, it checks if you're moving the knob, and if you were, then now you're not, and plays the fire alarm. The location being the smoke alarm in scene, and then adds a message from mom. So that was an interesting first game jam, and I'm glad to have been able to participate in it, but it was chaotic. There were like 4 sets of due dates, and I'm not sure if I'm actually eligible for the grading, but I tried my best, and the submission window closed, and I submitted my project like in 3 different ways. The themes were Oops, I Did It Again, Forget Me Not, and Stuck Together, and I think I adhered to them. So if you want to play it and hear the OST that I made in about 35 minutes, it's hosted on itch.io, linked below. Also, if you want to support me or check out my other stuff, my link tree is there too. I'd like to keep working on this because I think that would be really fun. Further to other recipes made in other kitchens, and shopping for ingredients, because I could make that fun too. Also, I have a lot of other projects, so tell me what you want.